Okay, again. Can you
Live
imagine
streaming.
our vocabulary without the word okay? How many times a
There
day?
would be a lot of gaps. There would be a lot of gaps.
That was just a thought.
All right, I'm just making sure we're good to go. It looks like we are. Hooray! All right, so Madelaine Parker
Hello, everybody.
and
Paul.
Amalia Natalio joining you today for our bi-monthly cosmic chat talking about the Cancer new moon, which is occurring on June 25th at 6:31 a.m. at 4 degrees 7 minutes. Hold on, I dropped my pen.
Ah,
Um, and the sign of Cancer. Oh, so many things I'd like to say about the sign of Cancer. Madelaine probably is one of the experts on it since that is her rising sign. Um, what I find really interesting about the timing of, I mean, the Cancer new moon happens around this time every year. So this is not like some, you know, unusual event. But I do find it interesting in terms of the timing of what we're all experiencing energetically right now and what has transpired up until this point. This feels like a really, um, when I think of Cancer, I think of that mother energy nurturing. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So this is a really powerful time because this is a moon ruled new moon. Cancer has to do with your home, with family, with like I said, mothering, feeling nurtured, cared for. It has to do with your ancestry, your lineage. And so to me, when I think about mother and home and family, it's this sort of feeling of comfort and ease and like you're cared for. And there's also the flip side of that, where sometimes those parts of your life that if they aren't in alignment or there's some fine tuning that needs to be made, you could feel the opposite of that. You could feel like you are looking for support or you really need some more nurturing and maybe having to care for yourself in a way because it's not coming from like a mother type figure, as an adult. So just kind of keeping that in mind as we're talking about this new moon. This the body gates for this new moon are, or for Cancer in general, it has to do with your female reproductive organs, the vagina, ovaries, breast, womb, also the stomach and the lymph. So things that you can do to support these areas like lymph massage, breast massage, even just, being really nurturing and rubbing your own belly, really tuning into those parts of you. And if you're a male, it's you all have a stomach, you have bellies, you have lymph,
they have breasts too.
you do. Yeah, not
Yeah,
quite the
breast
same.
cancer. Men
Yeah,
have breast cancer apparently too.
that's
I
true. Thank you for bringing that up, Madeline. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that you can do to really take care and nurture yourself. And I think that's one of the key pieces. We also have the summer solstice happening tomorrow, at least here in the East Coast. I find it really such a beautiful time when you think about it's the longest, brightest day of the year to 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 optimize. I'm about optimization and efficiency. Where can we take what we have that's given to us and make it the best that it can be and in a way that really nurtures ourselves and the world around us. So honoring nature, honoring yourselves, taking some time to really reflect on, okay, how can you bring that brightness of you into the in daily interactions that you might have with people, honoring the cycles and the seasons. I'm going to be sharing a ritual tomorrow or maybe over the weekend. So if we don't get to it tomorrow, it's kind of the 20th, 21st. It's okay. Saturday's fine too. And I guess one other thing I want to just say too is that because Cancer is ruled by the moon and it's a water sign, it's a very emotional time.
hmm
And so everyone just be aware that you might find yourself having some tears or feeling the sense of just like you're a little bit off. There's like stuff that's getting stirred up and you're not really sure what to do with it or where to go with it. And it's a lot about finding that way to self-soothe and self-nurture and take care and whatever that means for you.
Well,
Madelaine's got this big smile on her face.
yeah, because I've been the two readings I did yesterday, the last couple readings in the last couple days, we both start crying. I'm
Oh.
talking and I get excited, we get, and then we just start crying. And it's just like, why am I doing this? Thanks for reminding me. It's because of this new moon on my
Yes,
ascendant.
exactly. Exactly. So just everyone, just give yourselves a little bit of grace and gentleness. So I'm going to share the moon aspects, the flower, the impact, the gene key, all my goodness. And then Madelaine's going to jump in and share a little bit more about the overarching astrology as well as the forecast for all 12 signs. So as with every new moon, the sun and the moon are hanging out together, holding hands in the sky in the sign of Cancer. And so think about this. I touched on this already, tuning into your emotional landscape. Ask yourself, what makes you feel safe? What makes you feel nurtured? What makes you feel secure, emotionally secure? And pay attention to how you might instinctually respond to life happening to you. So let's just say during this time, somebody pulls out in front of you in your car and you're like, or can you find like a little bit of
Leo.
softness? Well, yeah, actually, I'm
That
usually
was a
pretty
roar.
chill.
That was a roar, though. I mean,
Yes,
sorry, I'm just
the 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 Leoness can pop out every now and then. Um, so just kind of pay attention to that. Now we also have this is a very lovely aspect, the moon sextile Mars in Virgo. So this is a balance between your intuition, that's that cancer part, and analysis, Virgo, and that the being able to channel your emotions into productive efforts. So, when you feel like this depth of emotion that Mars is like pushing you to take some sort of action, what sort of practical action can you take? You've got that with Mars and Virgo, you have that energy working in your favor. We also have the moon and conjunct Jupiter in Cancer, which means Jupiter is in on the mix with the moon and the sun. And this is an opportunity to reconnect with your inner emotional world and open yourself up to potential new opportunities. Jupiter expands and offers that potential for being able to see new opportunities and places that you can grow. But there might be some intensity to that as well. It's also very lucky. So there could be that like just that lucky chance meeting of someone that opens a door for you or something along those lines that could happen. And then we have two a little bit more tense aspects, those squares, and we're dealing with Saturn and Neptune. So we have this new moon is square Saturn in Aries. So think about this as an opportunity to embrace your emotional landscape while still moving forward and attempting to move the needle forward on goals or ambitions or things that you're looking to create a structure for yourself. You might find that need for emotional clarity or nurturance might be at odds with the action. So there might be a little bit of tension there. You might notice this feeling or need of like, I really want some security. And then this also like breaking free and wanting to be independent. So an awareness around this, some insecurities may surface. It will pass, but be aware that these are energies that are potentials. Now, the final aspect is the sun and moon square Neptune in Aries. There might be echoes of past conflicts that arise. Your emotions might feel overwhelming at times, which may lead you to want to seek comfort with your home or family. Like you may feel more inclined to like stay home versus go out into the world. It might just feel safer. And then pay attention to any dreams or visions you have of the future. Um, they might be feel exciting and they might feel unsettling. Like it might be this vision of some grand project that you're to bring into the world, but it feels really like, oh, that would be amazing. And then, oh my God, how am I going to do that? This feels like so much. It just feels like a lot. So there's a lot of emotional energy with this new moon. However, I feel like it's all really geared towards supporting us as always. And then we've got some pretty nice aspects that are supportive. And I just want to also share the impact chart here. 1 second. So basically 29 degrees of the mutables and 9 degrees of the cardinal signs, you all will be feeling this the most. That's the biggest impact. So let me pull this up here. All right. So here we go. So we've got, as you can see, down here at the bottom is where the new moon is. And so 29 degrees of Gemini through 9 degrees of Cancer. And then the opposition is up here, 29 degrees of Sag through 9 degrees of Capricorn. And then we have the squares over here. We have a square, which is 29 degrees of Pisces going into 9 degrees of Aries. And then on here on the right side, we have 29 degrees Virgo going into 9 degrees Libra. So if you have any points or planets at any of these degrees, definitely take a look, pay attention to what house it's in. That'll give you a little bit more clues, what planet it is, as to how that energy might affect you. The gene key I'm going to share next. Okay, so I find this really interesting. I was looking at this to prepare for today, and what I find fascinating about this is that we have the sun and the moon in the same place right now. The sun and the moon will be at the same place when we come up on this new moon because they're conjunct, they're together. So the sun and the moon are both going to have this energy of stillness, restraint, and stress. Okay. So as you can see, there's a keynote under here, stuck and restless. So this is like, these are different flavors of how we might be feeling during this moon cycle. And what I find really fascinating about this is that because we have the two luminaries, the sun and the moon, highlighted here with this energy of stress, restraint, and stillness. I'd like for you, if you choose, to contemplate as you embark on this season of notice where there might be areas of stress in your life, maybe even in your body, and what that might be telling you. And it could be things like, I mean, there's obvious stress, financial stress is pretty clear. Or work stress is pretty clear, but there might be stresses that you don't realize are affecting you. So it might be, the pile of papers on your desk that you look at and have now begun not to even see. But every time you come near that, you're sitting at your desk, it's this unconscious stress that might be showing up for you. So just notice where you might feel any tension in your body. Notice where stress might come up. And that may require a little bit of restraint on your part. So instead of jumping from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, it's about like taking a moment, being with yourself and just paying attention to how you're feeling. And the stuck and restless might give you clues. Like, is there an area in your life where you feel like you're not moving forward as much as you would like or as smoothly? Or are you feeling restless? Like, oh, I really need to go. I need to do something different. I need to shake things up. And then the stillness comes in where you've noticed where the stress is, you have noticed where you can have a little bit of restraint and step really into the sense of stillness. And stillness isn't necessarily just like staying still, although it can be. It's also about the stillness of your mind, of your body, of your heart, of that sense of homeostasis and just it's almost a sense of contentment. It's like the still water on a crystal clear lake. It's just content. It's peaceful. There's something to that is the opposite, if you will, of stress. And then we have the earth, and I haven't talked about this much, but I also just want to mention too. So we have the sun and the moon. We're looking at it from the vantage point of earth, and the earth is in the 58th gene key, which has to do with dissatisfaction, vitality, and bliss. So if we take all of these keywords and formulate a story here, we're looking to find bliss in the stillness. We can find vitality in restraint, and we can see where our dissatisfaction can lead to stress. And so those are kind of some simple ways that you can look at the energy of this new moon and this cycle. and contemplate these areas of your life going forward. Uh, and then I'm sure Madelaine will have some thoughts on how this could potentially connect with the energy of the moon and her effect on all of us as
Oh,
well.
yeah, I mean, you touched on a lot of it already. Basically, it is an emotionally watery new moon, and it is in the part of the sky that represents a storm in the Vedic sky. It's like a very stormy energy. It's about basically prevailing through a storm, is this part of the sky. And it's about basically what do we have to transform within us to win and be victorious through the storm? Like if you use it as a metaphor that you're by a river and there's a flood, you survive the flood by being strong and holding on to something, you know.
Mhm.
So there's some sort of gain through surviving of the storm, the emotional storm. It's about transforming your emotional, and it's about transforming the storm into calm through our own inner transformation, our own emotional transformation. So basically,
Well,
um,
before you run into all the details,
sure,
I just want to share the
sure.
flower, and then that way you
Oh
can just
yeah,
rock and roll and jet through. Um,
yeah.
so we have the BRUGMANSIA is the flower for this Cancer new moon, and what I love about this flower, if you look at it, it's almost, I think we had this last time too. You know, there's five um, petals, but it's almost like the directions of life, you know, the different paths that we can take. And we have this beautiful green color that's very heart forward, and then the purity and the of the white flower itself. Like it just, and it almost feels like you could just curl up in the center of it and it would close its petals around you and nurture you and take care of you, and you could be safe. The Brugmansia is a flower that allows you to be able to ask for help, which I really, really love. I think that's a huge theme for us right now. And be able to create a community of support. I mean, if you think about cancer and you think about the energy of cancer and coming together in a family setting and supporting each other and being there for each other, this is so perfect for that. It's also a flower that supports assimilation of change and growth, which to me really connects with the influence of Jupiter. You know, Jupiter really allowing us that opportunity for growth and and being curious, you know, potentially learning something new, assimilating new information. And then the final keynote for this is surrendering to vulnerability. So, where can we be more vulnerable in how we show up in the world, how we engage with others, how we share with others, how we learn from others, how we grow with others in a community setting, communal setting, or a familial setting? So, I just love this flower for the Cancer new moon.
Yeah, that is a nice energy for this new moon for sure, that flower.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. So,
Yeah.
that's it for me. Now, I cannot wait to hear what you have to say, Madelaine.
All right. So basically, this isn't, we're in some very interesting times. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how much things are going to change in the world, in our lives, big ways, because we have so many planets at the low degree points. The big major outer planets are all under 3 degrees right now. They're like, I'll share the chart in a minute. But basically, so this new moon is a cardinal new moon, completely connected to Saturn, squaring Saturn, which is conjoining Neptune right now, which means something very big is going on that we're not aware of. Whatever you think is going on politically is not what's happening. Whatever story you think is happening, it's probably not true. The Neptune Saturn basically means there is a completely something deceptive going on with the government or the powers that be. We're not privy to. Saturn is government. Neptune is confusion, fog. You could say deception too.
Mhm.
So, so, so this new moon is a cardinal new moon squaring Saturn and Neptune with Jupiter on it, right on my ascendant. So it's like crazy. So, so basically the sun is combust to Jupiter. Jupiter is combust right now. And when a planet is combustion, it's in a weak state. We're having Jupiter squaring Saturn. And when Jupiter squares Saturn, when Jupiter is squaring Saturn, let me just, it's basically Jupiter squares is a, you mentioned it, a dynamic energy of growth and then restriction. So something is going on behind the scenes, and it is also happening in our own lives. We may not be fully aware of a truth in our own lives because there's a brand new beginning, a new 29-year cycle initiating on this new moon because it's involving Saturn. So this is a part of the new initiations that Saturn at 0 and at 1 degrees of Aries is initiating in our lives, is causing a shift, squaring, making us move, making it, because these are cardinals, so they have big seasonal shifts, and things are happening in the season. So this summer solstice is happening with a new moon, which basically is when shifts for cardinals anyway, their lives completely shift usually during these cardinal lunations. But so you're going to see these big shifts coming in everybody's lives, and something's changing about our home and our world and our home country and our homes because of that square. And we don't know what it is. We can't see it because it's being hidden. So, and in our own lives, there's something going on behind the scenes in our own life that about our new birth and our new beginnings and our new dream direction that we're taking with Saturn, with Neptune in Aries, 0 degrees. We have a dream that we're reaching towards, or a vision. And so this new moon is a significant new moon because it's conjoining Jupiter in combustion, which means it's not in its power. So it's squaring Saturn, which means not happening until whatever's going on behind the scenes is completed in its function of what it's doing.
And what do you see as the time frame for that? That's going to be a little bit of time.
July 7th, early July.
Yeah.
So we're going to see in early July, we're going to see the sun out of combustion. We're going to see Saturn and Jupiter out of its square because Saturn's going to go retrograde. When does Saturn go retrograde? Saturn's going to go retrograde 7/13. So Jupiter and Saturn are going to start moving away from each other. And then Neptune is still going to be forming a square there, but then Jupiter's going to move out of that square because Jupiter is moving much quicker.
Right.
So we're really we are making these new beginnings, though there is stuff happening and going forward despite these squares. So it's not a complete, Saturn it's just not giving us dessert. So it's like, we're going forward and we're starting these new beginnings. Now, what are these new beginnings with a Cancer new moon? These are cardinal new beginnings. So these are big new beginnings that tilt our life in all areas, depending, of course, on your personal birth chart. But basically, we're looking at new families, new homes, new maybe building a home, farming, what else? So Cancer, as we've discussed before, is the bottom of the chart. It creates a new foundation. So we're looking at long-term safe and security families. Now it's connecting with Saturn in that Aries. So these are long-term new beginnings.
Yep.
Like if you move on this new moon, you'll probably be there for 29 years. This is part of the aligning you with this new chapter that's initiating in all of our lives. So we're starting a new 29-year cycle. This new moon is taking one aspect of the 4 cardinal aspects, which is our career, who we are, who we go with, and where we're coming from, which is the 4th house, right? Where we're from, our ancestry, where we're headed, who we are, and who we're going with. So this new moon, a cardinal new moon, is going to initiate new beginnings that influence all those aspects, those 4 angles. So especially for the cardinals. But we're looking at a new family, I repeated that, now we could go deeper in on the Cancer thing, because basically Cancer is also, they're very business savvy energies. Cancer is a very intelligent energy. It's also about safety. and security and protection of the home. And that square to Saturn, is basically, I think what's going on behind the scenes is we have protection of home, which is actually what the election was voted on. If you look back at some of my posts, I see the election as being voted towards whoever's protecting Cancer. Mars was in Cancer, so we were protecting home. So that's this new moon. It's like that same kind of energy, new beginnings that create a feeling of protection in our homes, and stabilizing things so that we can initiate the big story of Saturn in Aries. And now Saturn's going to go retrograde back into Pisces, which means there's some more karma to clear up. Some of the storm that's showing up here in this Cancer new moon, I'm seeing in people's lives a storm showing up. Now these storms show debris, the unlocked down debris. What does a storm do? It brings pieces of wood flying all over the place, and branches and leaves and things. It's a big chaos, right? So what happens in that storm is it moves around the things that are not stable and out of the way, revealing what is stable. So, so these are new beginnings, having washed away all that is not stable. And we have a clean slate. We start with a clean slate. Let me look at my note here 1 minute. So yeah, so it's like it's all about mastery of the storm, not being defeated by it. What else? It says it's emotional moment that leads you towards catharsis and the ability to find self-discipline in some sphere of life. So in other words, to take the storm that we're experiencing and have it make us stronger.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. And also we're really, really not supposed to get distracted by the news and all this craziness and the chaos, because that's the test right now, is can you stay centered and balanced within yourself as an autonomous being, undeterred by the material realm? Can you move the material realm, or are you going to be thrown around by the material realm? Can you ground in a stable? That's the new moon in Cancer, is ground, the emotional truth. The feminine energy is the keeper of the balance, keeper of the frequency. She manages the energy frequency, and she holds ground. Feminine is grounder. So you hold in your emotions, that's the emotions, the truth. Feminines know an emotional truth. They ground to the truth. So things can push you. Lies, Neptune squaring is trying to push you. These lies trying to push you off the truth and get you all emotional and freaked out, ungrounded. And so the feminine, she knows the truth. She's connected to the higher truth. She knows the truth. She grounds in the truth. She holds it. So you ground the truth. You let other people, body testing, when you do muscle testing, so
Mhm.
a yes, you cannot move it. It's a yes is strong. A no is like that, right? So we're being a yes.
I
Yes.
haven't seen that version of it.
You haven't? I just learned that yesterday. Friend of
So
mine
wait,
taught me.
is it your middle?
You take the ring finger,
Uh-huh.
you could put your other finger on top of it, and then if you can push it, so show me a yes, I can push it, but the finger stays very strong as one. When I say no, show me a no, it breaks. So am I correct in my interpretation of this astrology transit? Am I correct? Yes. Are we about to enter a massive war? Are we about to enter a massive All right, let me get out of that question. Starting over.
Yeah.
Yes. Show me a no. Are we in for war? Are we in for a big war? Are we in? So I'm getting no. That's what I got on my read too, comparing the charts.
So
So
the
anyway,
just another muscle testing way to do it is also a lot of people do the rings. I don't find that works for me
I
personally.
hold it really easy.
Yeah, it's like it just doesn't. But I do like this like sway testing where you stand, kind of take a few cleansing breaths and you stand up and
Yeah.
you yes typically is forward, no is backwards, and that I feel like your whole body gets to be like a pendulum and gives you information. And I think the key with any of the muscle testing is really just trusting the answer that you get. Don't keep doing it to try to get an answer that you want.
I had a breakthrough in learning how to do it. You really, 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 your no, when you do it, you want to be really light. So like, so if a yes is strong, you're not holding it hard. You're not pulling, you're being very light.
Uh-huh.
Light. So a yes will hit really, really light. You're not holding it. And then a no will slip it through. So if you're holding it tight and you're holding on, you don't want to do that. You want to be very light. And then yeah, show me a yes, very light. Show me a no. So I've found I can be really accurate if I'm really light, letting the no happen.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't happen when it's a yes.
Yeah,
See,
so I mean, some gives people something to play with.
yeah, and you practice on your yeses and nos. And so anyway, where did I go? Should I pop the chart now? Should we pop
Yeah,
the chart?
let's do it.
All right. So here are the squares. Wait, am I on the chart? Did I move it around? I moved it around. Sorry, I was goofing off. Hang on a minute. The sun is going to be at 2 degrees, 4 degrees of
Yep.
Cancer. Come on. Oh, wait, I'm on hours. Let me get to days. I had it all lined up. I must have got distracted and started looking at another thing. Okay, so there is the sun and moon together, masculine, feminine energies in harmonic union at, wow, here it's hitting at 3 degrees. No, it's not. Sorry. Sorry, one more hour here. There we go, 4 degrees. Jupiter and the entire thing, Jupiter right there in combustion, which means it's having a meeting with the sun. Whenever planets meet, take a cycle and they meet with the sun, which happens annually, pretty much, except for Mars, I think. Sometimes they don't because the it's a long story, but anyway, it's a usual thing. But basically, Jupiter and all people ruled by Jupiter, things are on the slow, on the quiet down. Less your ruling planet is off duty basically right now, having a very important meeting with the sun and discussing its next agenda and the next plan. And above that, purifying its motive, reassessing its motive, reevaluating why it's here, what it's doing, its mission, its purpose, all of that, right? So you're getting clarity, Jupiter ruled people. Now that's important because it's very interesting that Jupiter goes into combustion right at the 0 degrees of Cancer, because Jupiter is in exaltation in Cancer, which means you're having an important integrative period, the sun, Jupiter, where we're really getting some important insight prior to initiating our abundance that Jupiter Cancer is going to build in our lives as we continue. I hope that tracked. And we're squaring Saturn because we can't just start building things and developing these new beginnings without real connection to the long-term stability of it.
Mm-hmm. So true.
Yeah, so we're really taking this beginning slow. Things that happen quickly do not last. They are the devil. Things that happen and take a long time and go through a lot of struggle and things last. That's why for all ye strugglers in social media platforms that appear to be feeling like it's slow, that's the better way to go, because that will be more long lasting. That will last. That will be in the end the better, more true. So in anything, really, in relationships that happen too fast, they crash. They tend to crash. The ones that take time to build, and there's periods of push and pull and separation or whatever. I do a lot of readings about that. They end up lasting a long time. So we're looking at these new beginnings in family. Now, this is a beautiful energy because the cardinal planet of Mars is sextiling it, like you mentioned, sextiling. So there is, this sort of Mars Mercury, and Mars Mercury is uninhibited. There's no square to Mars. Mars rules Aries, but Mars is in its energy of grounding, stabilizing, taking care of things, fixing life, pulling things back together, organizing, cleaning, new beginnings, home, cleaning, organizing our paperwork, reinitiating new routines, squaring our lives up. That's why we're supposed to stay focused on ourselves right now and not the drama. This astrology, we're supposed to build and we're supposed to organize ourselves and start these new beginnings, a new home, a new living situation. We're supposed to clear our path for a new road, a new start, like clearing the way for these. It's almost like you're going to move. This is what happened to me. I had a shed on my land and I got a letter from the government saying I needed to move my shed because it was in the flood zone, right? So it took me a while to have to find somebody. I had to move the shed, but before I moved the shed, I had to clear a path for the truck to come to move the shed. So the truck could come in and move the shed. So that's what we're looking at. It took me, it took a long, it was a process. So anyway, that's where we are. These new beginnings have some stumblies, blocks involved because these new beginnings are not going to, they're going to be very abundant, very important, very powerful with it's going to be a powerful new beginning. It's going to last. This is a big new beginning as opposed to little new beginnings. This is a gigantic, huge new beginning. I'm just kidding, but it actually, I'm not kidding. If you were to,
I feel like it really is with all
yeah,
those planets at 0 degrees that we've got Saturn, the planet of the long-term foundation at 0, maybe 1 degree. I don't know where it is exactly now, of Aries. It's like there's no way we can't have these huge new beginnings
yeah.
happening.
I mean, if you could rate the new beginnings from a 1 to 10,
What would it be?
if 10 being the biggest, it would be a 10.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's a whole new life. It's a whole new
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
You're building a brand new beginning. So a new home, new foundation, new jobs, new identities, new relationships. We're going to go through it all the 12 signs, but these are the right ones too. This is the Mars. We've healed. I'm even seeing this in a lot of the masculine energy around me. I'm seeing a lot of healed men acting from empowered masculine energy. That we got a lot of planets in
Mhm.
masculine energy, so we're healing the masculine energy. We've been healing that with Mars and Cancer forever last year or this year earlier. So what's
Yeah.
happening is we're getting a healed divine masculine. And so then what happens when you have a healed masculine, they are protectors, they are in their power, the actions align with the feminine intuitive. The masculine was healing their feminine intuitive emotional, which means that they're no longer in pain internally so that they can access their center self, because the masculine is running away from their center self because there's pain there. So when that's healed, the masculine can enter his intuitive guidance center. And that's the same within us too. We've healed our feminine energy within with the Cancer Mars, and then we can align our masculine energies. We can focus our internal centers because we've healed. Cancer is all about healing. So we now can align with our internal centers because it's healed. We're even feminines are running away from their hurt in ways that and that's the Ardra. This part of the sky is represented by the teardrop, which represents where we're hurt. So it's like we're healing through a storm, a hurtness in us that is there because of because something within us that isn't strong. And the storm strengthens us. And then that hurt is the storm that heals the strength back to the strength, if that makes any sense, because the hurt felt like we were weak. So the healing occurs in the healing of that wound. And then you become, that's why Chiron's in Aries, Saturn is in Aries. We're healed masculine energy, which means we've healed our center. That's Cancer new moon is about, our new beginnings that we're initiating from the healed feminine and healed masculine. Feminine, masculine together, healed through the storm, through a tear, through the pain. And then in that pain, in that storm, we've become new people. We've become transformed to strength. The feminine emotion is grounded in our truth, knows the truth. The masculine is grounded in his positive masculine energy, which is to protect the truth, to protect the feminine within himself, his emotional center, and to stay aligned with the center feminine, which is the truth. Because then you're aligned your masculine energy with the internal truth. Then you're in aligned masculine energy. It's aligned energy. So we're really, these things are way, way better than people know, in my opinion. And I know other astrologers who agree with me. I think we're in for abundant times. I think some of these shifts and changes that are happening politically are going to show into be very successful and working. But now, doesn't matter what side you're on. Really, what matters is that you're not polarizing and arguing and fighting on either side, because that's going to drop your vibes and you're not in the truth. So the truth is that things are changing and shifting, and we got to be open-minded, because things being different doesn't mean it's bad. Doing things differently right now is probably good, actually, because everything the way it's been is a mess. So anyway, so this is I'm talking about in our lives too, as within, so without. Whatever is going on in the world, I'm telling you, we are World War III is going on within us on some level. And I'm not saying World War III is happening, but that's the fear, right? So there's some sort of fear within the psyche body playing out in the mass that this new moon, basically, you're going to see that we emotionally take a hold of that fear and that storm. And it's a lie because there's that Neptune there. So anchor in that truth, which is what astrology, tarot, spiritual practices, soul coaching, all that does is helps align us with the center emotional truth. It's the magician card in tarot, where we stay connected to the higher, bigger picture. We stay on our abundant path, and we anchor in our emotional truth. You cannot shake the truth. So there it is. Did I go through all the things? Let me just quickly talk about some of this stuff. So we've got the nodes. Let me just quickly do that. I'm kind of in the excitement of this healing energy of Cancer because I just love it. And I just really believe in healing and energy healing in general, because we can really shift by doing that, because we want to be in the higher frequency. So whatever technologies and modalities out there available to us that can help us shift some of these deeper low-based, fear-based things, because we want to clear and purge all that out. But yeah, so we've got a lot of really nice transits going on. Jupiter sextiling Mars. We're supported by Mars energy, even though, and Saturn is in Mars energy. So that's a nice aspect. So in other words, don't let the square Mars stop you or make you feel like it's not going to happen. Keep in the faith, keep in the intuitive center, knowing, because Jupiter intuitive in Cancer, intuitively we're going to get past this. That's why astrology is so helpful, because it looks like everything, oh my God, nothing's happening, the Jupiter square. But Mars ruling Saturn is saying, no, keep going. Focus on the little things that you got to take care of, because your life's about to change. Get your things in order. Don't get distracted, you know. So anyway, so that's really positive. We've got the nodes making a nice connection with Venus, which is abundance, nice, and in its Saturn, in its Taurus energy, which is its happy vibe, that's abundant. Venus is aligning us to our abundant calling path, where we are in our true soul designed, destined path. Venus is going to bless us. And also when we're in Pisces North Node, it's our calling. Venus is going to help us. And then Pluto sextiling Saturn. This is why I don't think we're in for anything too bad here, because I think Pluto sextiling Saturn does mean that there is and don't forget, Neptune is there too. Neptune is there. There is something hidden beneficial that's going on behind the scene that's on our side. People's side. And in our lives, like we think we might be going through some storm in our life right now, but there's a hidden benefit behind the scenes that's really going to be very good, that liberates us and brings us through spiritual liberation. So the bigger picture is positive. This is where you can choose whether you go through the path of abundance or the path of fear and destruction. And in other words, you can get pulled into this chaos and be a part of it, or you can pull out of the chaos in our own lives too. There could be some sort of chaotic experience happening in our own life, because Ardra is all about that. Ardra is about the big storm. So it's like whatever storm is happening, you stay centered. Can you ground in the truth?
And I feel like a great and simple way to do that is being in nature. Nature
Absolutely.
is incredibly grounding, and the
Very.
insights that you receive and the information that you intuit when you're in nature, trust that
Yeah.
and take note of it. Because I know sometimes I'll be on a walk. I often walk without any electronics. And
Mm-hmm.
it's been good practice for me to trust that the information that I receive
Yep.
when I'm on the walk sticks, because I often have these like downloads of insights and then I forget what they are by the time I get
Yes.
inside.
Yes.
So just really like just trusting and anchoring in and knowing that whatever information you receive will
Yep.
stay with you. Um,
100%.
Yeah. Or
Uh,
bring a notepad if you don't want to take your electronics. I just find that it's a good practice for me to be in
yes.
that state of faith and trust.
Yeah, I paddleboard and I turn my phone off for long walks all the time. I just don't even have my phone on for, quite a big chunks of time. But
Yeah.
yeah, these new beginnings though are going to happen because if Jupiter's in the picture, my experience with Jupiter in the picture is something opens up that puts us on
Mhm.
our dharmic path. An opportunity comes in, a new beginning, an opportunity that shoves us. Yeah, that you go off that, like pushing you off the edge of the, no, something that opens the door that throws us on our path, and it's in retrospect pretty clear that that's when that
Yeah.
path began. And that does, like for instance, all the Jupiter transits I've had on any of my North Node MC Jupiters always puts me further as an astrologer tarot reader. Always, more opening, more. So it's like it just these weird things happen that open that door, and that's where you walk through. So
Yeah.
new moon is going to be like that. And I think it's a very abundant new beginning, very, very abundant if you could stay focused on that and not the chaos in the world
Yeah.
or in your life. Like ignore any chaos happening in your life because we're really supposed to, we're coming, it's like, imagine we're in a boat and we're coming out of rapids and there's all this, but you just focus on the boat getting through the rapids. Just get through
Yeah.
the rapids.
Instead of getting caught up in the whirlpool and the
Yeah.
waves and the
Yeah.
rocks that you look like
Fire
you're going to
your
crash
engine up.
into.
Yeah. Power up your engine and boo.
Ah. All right. Well,
So
why don't we power up our Aries engine and see what's going on for them
yeah,
in
so
this
for Aries, this new
Cancer?
moon is happening in your 10th, fourth house, sorry. Fourth house for Aries. Let me just get the chart lined up. Oh, well, let's go the other way here. So yeah, so Aries, you're ruled by Mars. Mars is in your Virgo, which is in your sixth house. So you really are trying to focus on detailed things about your life and oh, I got to get the Aries card out and really focusing on sort of organizing your life, changing some ways of operating on a day-to-day, changing your routine, being more disciplined around something, perhaps quitting a habit. That's Mars, Virgo. That's your ruling planet, right? So then we've got, but in the fourth house, you've got a lot going on because Jupiter's there. So Jupiter in your fourth house with this new beginning is buying a new property, selling I made quite a bit of money when I sold a property with Jupiter in my fourth. It's a good time to sell a property. I mean, I would definitely wait till some of this. Let Saturn square that for now, but that could be what is going to happen. Um, um, so, so yeah, you've got Saturn in your first house, so you're becoming much more mature. You're taking on responsibilities. And for instance, if you're a teenager right now, let's say you're middle school and you have Saturn in your first house. I did a reading for someone who was a middle schooler. They had Saturn in their first house. It was Pisces, just when Pisces entered it. And I said, by the time Pisces is out, you're going to be like a woman. And she's like this tall woman now. So basically you mature. You take on a lot of responsibilities and new big chapters starting for Aries. And so obviously, because of this big new chapter happening in Aries life, there's a new shift in happening in your home life. You're moving. Mothers could pass away with this transit, new moon in the fourth, because it's squaring Saturn. So there could be some sort of thing going on with mother, dealing with mother, having to help mother, conflicts with mother, or ending a relationship with a mother is possible. But basically clearing something out of the way so you can move forward in your living in your living situation. Like perhaps one good metaphor would be you raise a house so you can build a new house. So it's like, we with that square to Saturn, something stopping you, redoing the foundation of a property you want to do, or like restructuring your living life completely to match the new Saturnian beginning. I suppose I could go on, but we just keep it at that.
Yeah, I feel like that was good.
Yeah.
All right, so we remember we had this like beautiful flower, this like white pure flower
Oh,
as the
yeah.
Cancer new moon overarching flower support. And then here we have another really beautiful white
Wow.
flower of the gardenia.
Yes.
And what I love about this for for Aries and this in this Cancer new moon cycle is the fact that it allows them to shift their perception around something, um, and embrace the beauty of maybe what would be considered their ancestral shadows, maybe something that's coming from their lineage that allows them to notice a pattern and potentially make a shift. So something that maybe was considered a weakness in your family, you can now turn that into a strength. So maybe it's something where maybe they're super frugal or they constantly save all their money and, there are things that need to be fixed around the house that they don't spend the money on, but now they realize, okay, wait, saving is good, but there are things that I need to do. And now it's important that I invest and make some improvements to my home. It'll improve my living situation. And it's a shift in something maybe you've learned or maybe something, ancestral that you can make a change that will improve yourself, improve your life. And it's not this, maybe the saving in your family came from a place of fear. It's like the shadow place of never knowing if there's going to be enough and wanting to make sure and being able to shift and change that. I'm just giving that as kind of a
Well,
broad
you're kind of on
example.
target right there because Mars rules their eighth house. So you are talking eighth house stuff too. That fear about money. It's interesting that's showing up. So
Yeah. Yeah. So
beginning, yeah. All right.
gardenia for Aries. Okay. Taurus.
Taurus. It puts this happening in your Saturn is in your 12th and the new moon is in your third house. So perhaps you again a potential relocation new moon where you do something does shift around what's locally around you, new beginnings in new environment, new people around you, a new business. And again, this is clear. This new beginning happens for Taurus with some sort of major ending of a major fear, karmic fear, like busting through something that just it's taking a big risk, being scared to take this risk because it's financially risk taking because it's your third house. So it's like squaring that Saturn in your 12th, where you're really clearing a past life trauma, fear of, you know, unable to survive because of external restrictions, because of Saturn. So it's like you're going to bust through that you're really an empowered being, that you can survive despite fears of things that don't want you to survive or make it, or there's something in the world that it doesn't let you succeed and you think that's going to win, like a dragon is going to defeat you. But it's not true. You keep going, ignore that dragon, slay the dragon. That's Jupiter square Saturn in your third in your house. Your mind, this new moon, plus you're going to have Jupiter in your third house, which is going to be very amplifying your thinking, your racy mind. You want to stay purity of mind, purity of vision, purity of focus, stay on track. Don't let the demons get you. Don't let the bastards get you down. That's kind of the vibe. I think that's it for Taurus. What'd you get?
Okay. So we have yet another white flower,
Oh,
the jasmine. And jasmine, it's a flower of self-appreciation, and it has to do with expressing your confidence. And I love this for third house placement because the third house also has a lot to do with expression, some forms of communication. It allows you to shine your radiance, which I also really love for this, and focusing on your own inner beauty. So this is not about looking for external validation or just looking at your external as the only part of you that's valuable or important. It's appreciating all parts of you, the inner and the outer. And here we have three full size flowers, like three fully in bloom flowers for the third house. It just feels
yeah,
very
interesting.
very aligned. And then there's this little bud here of the potential of what can you create when you express from a place of confidence and radiance? What sort of version of yourself can you allowed to emerge when you are coming from a place of knowing how beautiful you are inside and out. It's a different energy. So I love Jasmine for Taurus.
Yeah. I mean, what's coming through to me is that these are all cards showing that we are healed. These are healed new beginnings
Mm.
because all these light
Oh,
colors.
with the white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's really fabulous. And also for Taurus, you're going to be building a new family. If you start a new business, let's say you're starting a business. I happen to know a Taurus who's literally starting a business. She's just rented a space in town. So I can't help thinking about her. So she's going to meet a new family sort of structure around that business. She's creating the new family will be created, and her daughter's involved in it too. So just to throw that angle in on it. Exciting.
I dig it. Very cool.
Gemini,
Gemini.
Jupiter, Uranus is about to enter your sign. Jupiter has been in your sign. So let's get you in on this. So basically, this is new beginnings in your money and your finances. Again, this is could be like a new family business with your family, or a new artistic creative. Cancer can be very creative and artistic too. So creative artistic project, new beginnings in writing projects, Gemini, artistic creative projects, writing, um, perhaps selling homes if you have planets there, work redesigning creative new beginnings in redesigning homes, being a designer, gardener, landscape jobs, a new way of making money that's really home for you, that feels at home. And I had a new moon in my second house, but it was in Leo because I'm Cancer rising. So it was a new beginning in how I made my money. So you could be making money if you're, wait, where are we? Who are we on? Gemini, some sort of a healing practice comes in, or like let's say you're in the arts, you're Gemini, you're in the arts, some sort of new beginning in in your in your arts field that heals, that's more healing and more authentic and more real. And you're creating from a healed perspective, from a healed version of yourself. So it's like new beginnings, earning money, new way of income, and also new beginnings of believing in yourself, going through an emotional storm of low self-esteem and low self-worth, and then coming through it and really believing in yourself and being able to step out and do something kind of off the cuff, because this is going to be a new beginning. The world is changing. So a lot of these new beginnings are very different. So it's like something really off the norm beginning, but it does sustain you financially for a good 29 years. And it's from a healed version of you. So it's going to work out.
Yeah, it's interesting when you were saying there about, starting something, I feel like the changes that are happening for a lot of us are things that we're not used to, that are very, very different than what we have been doing and how we've been living. And so there is a sense of it requires some acclimation to be able to embody the energies and feel a sense of stability within them.
Yeah.
When there are things that we're not at all familiar with from a lived human perspective. So this flower, the golden columbine, so we've shifted a little bit to yellow. I'm trying to see if you can see all the little nuances of the interior of this flower. This flower, you mentioned this earlier, Madelaine, about the inner demons. So this flower is a reminder that make friends with those inner demons. We have the second house placement. It has a lot to do with your sense of value, your sense of worth, being able to look at all the parts of you. So noticing when you might have any what we can consider like quote unquote negative thoughts or emotions that show up, allow them the space to be there. And when you do, they very often will begin to dissipate and dissolve. This also helps dissolve self-criticism and fear of judgment. So when you're in that place where you know your value, you know your worth, you're not really worried about what other people are saying, nor are you talking to yourself in a way that is not loving. And that will give you the opportunity to feel carefree and to feel safe, to be a little bit more vulnerable within your conversations and your relationships with people. And that will allow you to expand your sense of self and be able to receive more love, more connection, firstly and foremostly, and most importantly, with yourself. So I really love the Golden Columbine. Let me see if I can.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting card for Gemini because they have, and I forgot to mention this, because they've got Saturn in their 11th house squaring Jupiter in their second. So something about social, they have to meet somebody first, or they meet somebody online and they quit their old job. Suddenly they quit a job and a new job opens up. They could lose their social media platform, or some kind of a crisis could happen with that
Mm,
that blocks you, or something just isn't moving in your social networking. But it could also be that you're supposed to, something has to happen first before this financial abundance occurs. Jupiter needs to
yeah.
get out of combustion when you have more clarity on what that is, even.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. Okay,
Yeah.
Cancer. Boy,
Woo.
boy.
Yeah. So these are big, of course, big new beginnings for Cancer. So you have Saturn in your 10th, in your 10th house, squaring your ascendant with Neptune there. So again, there's a big change happening in your career and in your home and in your family. It's your whole life is going to change. I should have said that about Aries too, by the way. I hope I did say that about Aries too, all the cardinals. But anyway, so something is shifting in your job situation that's going to shift your living situation, that's also potentially shifting your relationships, that's possibly making you move because it's opposite your fourth. A lot of things happen when big planets are opposite a house in that house too. So this is a healed Cancer. The storm is over. The emotional storm that Cancers have been in is they're going to mature now because of that Saturn in Aries in their 10th. There's an emotional maturity and a wisdom and an evolution that's occurred for Cancer that has enabled them to become more authoritative in their work, because they're going to have Saturn there in their 10th house. So they're going to step up to they're going to take a bigger position, be bolder, be stronger, be out there more. I kind of feel that a little bit. But Cancer, but there's that square with that Jupiter there. So something has to shift in all that four area of the life first before that can really sort of move. Maybe after Saturn gets back to this point, because when does Saturn is going to enter shadow soon. So things, when Saturn retrogrades, we're going back, we're perfecting something, we're fixing something. And then when Saturn goes direct, it's going to meet this point again. Then we're going to go forward. So that's also going to be another time where we see progress forward here. But the shifts for Cancer is so massive that it's almost hard to see, in the sense that it's such a new redirect, that I'm excited about it because I love change. I personally, Cardinals like the change. So there is an emotional climactic goal experience in it. So again, weather the storm. It's the other side of the hurt. So it's the storm
Mm.
that has cleared that hurt. And so now we have these new beginnings on a much more strong foundation, because Cancer is going to be a strong foundation energy when it's emotionally stable. There you go.
So here we go again with another like yellowish flower here. Um, the papaya flower.
Wow.
This has the qualities and the energy of balancing the masculine and the feminine,
Interesting.
and allowing for a sense of receptivity and
Uh,
accepting help. So it's so similar to the card that came out for the Cancer new moon, the BRUGMANSIA, for the overarching energy for this Cancer new moon. So I find it really fascinating. We've got a different flower, slightly different feel to the flower, but similar energies. This also has to do with collaboration. So, where might you be able to collaborate to create something? We were talking about that family
Seventh house
sort
too.
of, yeah. And then It also relates to relationships, so compatibility within relationships, and that includes your parents and family. So there might be a shift in how you interact and engage with your parents, with your family, and other relationships in your life. Um, and one of the keynotes here is gentle is powerful. So, I feel like Cancerians just embrace that part of you. You don't need to be like the fire signs and really like power through. It's really about knowing that the gentleness that you carry, especially when in touch with your emotional landscape, is really powerful. So the papaya flower.
Yeah, that's like a very healed Cancerian energy, isn't it? Oh, I was just thinking of something about the Cancer energy. I just left my head.
Maybe it'll come back as we march on to the, no? Is it,
Oh, oh,
you got
oh, I
it?
forgot to say, family grows bigger. So you can have more people in your family. Jupiter is expanding everything here. This is expanding. So like a house, let's say you start a big house, Jupiter right there will make the house bigger. Having babies, you'll make more babies. It's like a lot of abundance is coming through with these new beginnings because Jupiter's there. So it's really going to make it a lot.
So be aware.
Yes. It can give you a big debt if it's in your eighth house, but usually it brings you very good luck with that debt and it pays off in the end. It's a good time to
Oh.
get in debt with Jupiter in your eighth house. You get in debt, but it can, I know, I tested it out. It worked out great. I usually test out when I say these things. I've tested it. All right. So
Leo.
Leo, by the way, Cancer, you can gain weight with Jupiter in the first house, just warning you. So Leo is happening in your 12th house. So you've got Jupiter in your 12th house. It can be challenging having Jupiter in the 12th house because I just kind of went through that and I went through some karmic crap. But on the whole, we are cleared of karma right now. We have maybe some more little things happening with that Saturn in retrograde, but on the whole, I think it's going to be a nice run with Jupiter in its exaltation in your 12th house, where upon this healing, you're able to really make progress in your life in some sort of all around way as a result of having healed your karma and having stopped operating in a karmic repeat way and having broken a pattern and now being able to sort of step through a storm. There could be a loss of some sort, like a windstorm, a storm could literally come down and knock down your house, but it's the wrong house. It's got bad energy in it, and you're supposed to build a new house that's better from a healed place. So whatever collapses or losses happen during 12th house transits, it's energy that needs to be cleared out of your experience and your psyche body and your field. So for Leo, you've got what else? The sun, you're ruled by the sun, so you are going to feel these new beginnings. So these new beginnings, you could travel, new beginnings in the 12th house. You could move to another country, or you could move to the country. You could start a new family and a new home in a retreat. You could start a retreat center, a healing center. You could be somebody who, if you've got planets there, for instance, you've got Venus there or Saturn there, you're supposed to maybe run healing retreats and help heal people. Jupiter in your 12th, it can also be that you're in deep study and learning and expanding your consciousness and your knowledge of the cosmos and understanding the unseen forces and how they influence our lives down here and the science behind it. Plug for the astrology. And Saturn is in your ninth house. So Saturn in your ninth house is going to block perhaps travel, but also it could be that you work and travel and work is connected to that. But also Saturn is going to block some sort of change here from your 12th to your ninth because there's something more you need to know, learn about understanding the cosmos or spirituality, because the 12th house is a spiritually liberating house, something about your dharma. So somehow clearing that past life fear-based karmic thing clears the path for stepping into your true dharma as a leader and feeling very confident and bold about it. But again, it's going to happen after that combustion ends and Jupiter stops that square to Saturn. Something shifts in your awareness and your knowledge of the higher consciousness world, where you become a real leader and a fighter for it. You believe in something so strong now in the Saturn ninth house year as ahead that you become transformed by that part and you become a leader in this field, because Saturn then becomes in your 10th house where you're very fortified and you really have a lot of devotional belief about your purpose, your dharma. Saturn in your 9th house aligns you to your dharma, and you got to get over some past life fear block to doing your dharma first. So you got to connect with it, sometimes the trauma of the past. Go get an energy healing. Go find out what you're blocking it, why you're blocking your dharma. Challenge you.
Well,
What'd you
we
get?
have this
Oh, Aries energy.
very wild card here, the bird of paradise. It's one of my most favorite flowers, actually.
Mhm.
Um, this flower, it's a flower that's saying, okay, quiet the mind, connect to your inner state. So when I think about the 12th house, I think about doing just that, like really connecting with like your inner world. And meditation is really helpful in this case. This is reminding you, meditate,
Ah,
be within your own experience, within your own self. And then that will allow you to connect with others more deeply. So this is a one of like stillness and quiet connection with yourself, and also being able to take that out and from that place connected within yourself, you're able to go out and connect with others more deeply. And also, you're able to connect with nature and the world around you in a different way. This is also a flower as a reminder to move from your head to your heart. So you're connecting the two. There's nothing wrong with thoughts and having inspired ideas, but it's when it's coming from a place that's connected also with your heart and not just your mind running, running, running,
yeah.
running, running, running. That's when it really has some staying power, and it's really connected with what you're here to do, what your mission is, what your purpose is, and your gifts that you're bringing to the world. So the bird of paradise.
Wow, that's so Leo. So it's almost, this is, remember I was talking about the healed masculine energy?
Yeah.
So Leo is a masculine energy. So now what we're seeing is the Leo energy being less narcissistic and more protective and leader and courage and bold and aligned with divine cosmic justice.
Hmm.
Acting out of aligned cosmic justice, positive masculine energy, protector, leader, and healed masculine energy where they're not afraid to set the boundaries, terminate destructive forces, blah, blah, blah. In
It,
our
the
own
word
lives.
The word that came to my mind too when you were saying that too is cosmic intelligence. So it's like instead of our human minds, like it's more this like intelligence that comes in through the felt or that Cancerian felt experience instead. So I really love this flower.
And we need the healed masculine in the world right now. That's what we need, as
Yes.
well as the healed feminine. We need
And
them
I was just going to say, and the heel feminine too.
for sure, because
All
the healed
right.
feminine respects and honors her masculine, and vice versa. They respect each other. They make the other their king or their queen.
All right, Virgo, and don't forget the card.
Oh yeah, thank you for saving me half an hour of my time. No, I'm kidding. 15 minutes of my time going back and forth. I got to hold it up a long time too. Sometimes I don't hold it up long enough. Okay, so Virgo, you've got Mars in your first house. So you guys are being very Virgo right now. Super duper louder Virgos in the energy field of Virgo. And all of us are being more Virgo right now with Virgo in our. It's true. I've organized a lot of things, cleaned up, gotten rid of things. Um, Okay, let's get the house that this is happening in for you guys. So you've got Saturn restructuring your finances in your 8th house. Sometimes when Saturn is in our 8th house, our spouses don't earn money and we earn the money. But it's okay because Saturn in your 8th, make sure you're financially stable, structures you, make sure you have dinner. And then you've got this nice new moon in your 11th house. So you're meeting a new tribe, new beginning, new family. I remember I met what I believe to be my tribe, my new tribe. I remember I met them on a new moon in my 11th house. I met my new tribe family that night. I remember it distinctly. So you're meeting a new family from your 11th house out in the world and through the community. You could meet a true love partner and meet your person online, depending on your chart. I have advised people to go online. I said, you go online right now, you'll meet your person. And I have been validated. So it's not necessarily for everyone. You're not supposed to meet, you can see in your chart how you're supposed to meet your person. I have my Venus in the 8th house, which means I meet my person at night. And I met my husband at night and I met my other person at night. And I meet them in through other people's because it vacillates to my 7th house. So I also meet them through friends. And I've met my person through friends, through other connections. So you can see how you meet your person. So I got distracted there. How did I get off the topic? Anyway, this new moon in your 11th house is potentially that you meet your true person that you're setting up a family with, your new family. A new beginnings in social media networking, out in the world. You couldn't word of mouth. You could suddenly get a bunch of new word of mouth. People from new word of mouth comes in that sets you on your path, that sets you on some sort of new trajectory. But again, with Saturn in your 8th house, there could be some sort of financial blockages towards things moving forward. Again, opening up in that movement into July of out of combustion. And then, so you're sort of seeing restructuring of your finances there too with this new moon. So it's got something to do with your, and it being a square there from Saturn, there could be a financial problem that comes in that scares you, but you're going to be working on that. And then, but with that Jupiter there, it's a very lucky house. So Jupiter in your 11th will bring you perhaps a win, a gain through word of mouth, through clients, through meeting new people. So it's possible you're holding on to your abundance by being very penny pitchy and being fear-based and holding it, gripping. And Saturn's going to come in and square that 11th house and say, sorry, dude, that's blocking your flow. That's blocking your abundance. We're going to create a loss. So you let go and surrender a little bit. And then don't worry, we'll pay you back with the 11th house thing. And you do get paid back. So let go, trust in these energies. Whatever crisis could occur with that 8th house, there's a beautiful gain in your 11th. Beautiful gain.
Oh, this flower really so much epitomizes a lot of what you said, Madelaine. We have the bamboo flower. And again, we've got more of this like green and yellow sort of energy. Um, the bamboo flower, what's interesting is this is the feminine counterpart to the bamboo shoot, like you would think of. So it's like we have that masculine, feminine sort of vibe here as well. And this is it's a very, it's like a delicate kind of a flower. Like there's we have with the parts that are coming off of the actual stem, but then there's like these little tiny flowers that are also on here as well. And this teaches us how to release control. You were talking about that a moment ago, and deepen our sense of trust with a soft and steady presence. And I feel like that's something that Virgos can do fairly well. So I don't feel like this is going to be particularly difficult for them. However, what they need to remember is to when it comes to working in communities or with groups or online or wherever it is, it's that consistent gentle effort that's going to allow them to get where they would like to go. It's not that pushing or striving. There is this feeling of effortless action, but not through force or manipulation. So you really being in your integrity, really being clear on what it is that you're looking to share, what you're looking to create, and knowing that you don't need to control things for them to work out. And it's this soft, receptive, sort of feminine energy at play.
It's like you're saying, we make the progress in Virgo by what we do on a day-to-day that influences our health and our wealth. And it's more of a routine than it is of a burden. It's like a routine thing that happens. So if you're in a bad routine, it impacts your health and your wealth. And if you're in a good routine, it impacts your health and your wealth. But it happens through it being a routine.
Yes. Yes. And I would even go so far as make it a ritual.
Or
you
that.
know, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, but I love how you put the placement on that more of like that day-to-day 6th house Virgo type of energy too. So yeah, very, very good. Very good. All right. Libra.
Right? So you guys have Saturn on your descendant or in your cusp of your 6th and your 1st. So most times that indicates marriage, most times. can sometimes block you and keep you out of a relationship for a period. And Libras don't like that. But something's happening very serious and very permanent and very big in your relationship department. And it's squaring your 10th house because you have Cancer over your 10th. So there is a shift in your living situation and in your status. Marriage, which then shifts where you live. Perhaps Cancer is home. So there's a relocation involved, and then there's something shifting in your career house. This is a cardinal energy. So the cardinals are shifting all the way around. So they're becoming stable, new 29-year chapter initiating in their careers. This new beginning, new moon in your 10th house, new family starting that changes your status. You could get pregnant. Happen to know a Libra rising who is Sun Cancer, and Jupiter there can absolutely put you into a pregnant state. What else? The Libra, the cardinals with the Jupiter there in your 10th house is also a new beginning that expands your career in a very interesting way. Now, when you have your MC or Cancer over your 10th house, the more flow you go, things are going to flow to you. And by the way, that is the nature of a new moon in Cancer. Things are flowing to us. We don't really have to take much action. These things are flowing and opening these, and Jupiter is there causing these doors to open. And so there's a very abundant energy with Jupiter in your 10th house for the rest of the year. So this new beginning eventually plays out into very auspicious finances. This new relationship, it could be a soul collaborative thing, your soul contract with your marriage partner, with your true marriage partner. Now, if you're already in a relationship, your marriage is transformed. They're going through a transformation from a before this time into a now this time. Saturn it's restructuring your marriage, your relationships. Saturn squaring it is telling you something has to change in you for this relationship to succeed. That can happen. You have to redo things differently. With Mars Virgo, we're doing things differently. South Node Virgo, we're letting go of our old habits, our old routines, our old ways of doing things that do not work in our lives, that do not create progress. So yeah, big shifts for Libra. A 10-level new beginnings for Libra.
So Barb is on the call, and she dropped in the chat
She's
a
Libra.
little bit ago. She's got a Libra sun, so this is very well affecting her
Yep,
and what's
ninth
happening
house. Yes.
in her world. So yeah, Barb, let us know if what we're sharing resonates. And then here's the flower. We've got the pomegranate flower. So here we go. We're shifting now a little bit. This feels like a very big jump where we were over here. This was like the gateway to the shift here into this really self-empowered kind of energy, which I really love for Libra. And this is a reminder, when we're thinking about our career and wanting to move ahead in some way, or we have these goals and visions for ourselves, we can take on the stress of others and maybe their will or the things that they would like for us to do in order to create this vision or move ahead in some way. Now is a time to not do that. Tap into your own vitality and strength. You have the creative energy, you have the ability to express yourself in whatever form or fashion that will move you towards that future vision and goal for yourself. Because if you do take on the stress of others, you do allow the energy of other people to influence you, you're going to find yourself feeling fatigued and exhausted and really drained. So now is the time. This is a flower of detox. This could be internal detox, like actual toxins in your body, but it can also be detoxing yourself from people that might not be supportive. Think about people in your life that might be more of the toxic personalities, or you leave them feeling really drained. They are the people that this might be a good time to shift away from and be able to step into your role in your career and how you're facing the world in a new way. So the pomegranate flower.
That seems very passionate and romantic to me.
Yes.
Fire, passionate, expanding a relationship into its passionate, letting the relationship flower and expand into its true passionate fire state. In other words, the true person that has passion, that ignites you.
And it looks playful to me too. There's like a little
Yeah,
playfulness as well. So just
yeah,
a yeah, really good. That's a good one. I like that for Libra a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, Scorpio.
I did a reading. I was at I went paddleboarding the other day, and I stopped at this restaurant by the lake to get some food, and it was packed. So I said, I'll just get a cup of tea on the deck and I'll go eat somewhere else. So I got a cup of tea on the deck, and the waitress was on a break. So she came out, and I had my cards with me. She goes, "Can you give me a reading?" I said, "Sure." So I gave her a reading, and the reading basically, she was about to start a relationship, and she was about to start a new job. And it said, the card said, no, hold your horses. You're not inspired by either this relationship or this man. And she goes, "Okay, you're right." And I said, "You got to go with the work that inspires you and the man that inspires you." And she was like, "Wow, thank you." It was kind of fun.
That is fun. That's
Yeah,
super fun.
I love doing that. I often do readings for waitresses at restaurants and stuff. It's fun.
And I
And
think that's such a
sometimes I don't pay my meals. Sometimes they like, one girl ran back and got another waitress, and then they took turns in working, and they try not to, they do it in their little breaks, and
yeah.
then they keep passing the other one out. So I did 6 waitresses the other day, and they all gave me my meal for free. So it was fun.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Scorpio.
Try to remember where Cancer is for Scorpio. Where is Cancer lie in the chart of a Scorpio person? Into the,
Is it the ninth?
yes, very good. 9th house. When Jupiter transit your 9th house, holy manoli, do you get on your dharma? Do you fall in love with your path? Travel, expansion of new knowledge, new information. You're learning a lot, expanding your horizons, expanding your whole belief system. And then you got the square to Saturn in your 6th, which is Saturn's going to be in your 6th house. So it's going to tell you got to change your diets, you got to change your routines, you got to change some sort of ways of operating in a general way. So in other words, you're going to be on this, it's travel, new expansion with beliefs, teaching, learning, but something has to heal first with your Saturn house there in Aries, because Saturn's going to be there for 3.5 years. So there's some sort of restructuring of your day-to-day routine. Your life will change on a day-to-day routine in a big way, but when Saturn's entering your 6th house, you get very serious. You have to quit certain things. You have to quit sugar, flour, gluten, everything that's great about living. It's like the other day, I did a list of all the things I'm not supposed to eat and how much I love them. Like, you're not supposed to eat hot dogs. I love hot dogs. You're not supposed to have chocolate milkshakes. I love chocolate milk. Yet all these things, it's not about being fat. It's just not healthy for us, right? I love all these unhealthy foods. I don't eat them, but cancer is very much a sweet tooth and very much about eating a lot of unhealthy things. They can do. But anyway, so for Scorpio, there's this awareness developing of how they create trauma in their life from not having a higher perspective and a higher spiritual evolution. There's some spiritual evolution occurring, but that square to the 6th house is some pattern and habits. Now, Scorpios can have an addiction thing. It does land with Scorpio. So there's definitely some restructuring of operating on that level that impairs your health. Can be escaping in anything. TV shows. So something about your habit you've got to get more serious about, you got to get more disciplined about, and then what that does then is it empowers you to become a steady, solid foundation in your health, which then enables you to be, when Jupiter moves into your 10th house, to be a leader and to be a more, and then the learning that you're doing on that 9th house, you become the transformed version of Scorpio, which is to be healer transformer. If that makes sense. So in other words, the Scorpio are getting transformed into their center power so that they're making new beginnings in learning and philosophy and beliefs that enables them to transform and become more empowered rather than unempowered versions of themselves. That's the best way to explain it. It's kind of a tricky one with that sixth house there.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the sixth house.
No, no. The sixth house is a toughie.
Yeah, my son
That's
is
where that's my Chiron is in
oh,
the sixth house,
yeah.
and it's not a pleasant placement. Um,
But you become fixed. It's the house of getting fixed.
I got a lot of fixed, like literal
I,
fixedness in my chart. Okay, so we have here the navel orange blossom. So what I find so interesting, we tip it so you can see it a little bit better. We've got that the purity of the white that we've seen at the start. We have the green that brings in the heart. Oh, I didn't mean to rhyme, but I did. And then we have the orange of the playfulness of the personal power that's also part of the mix. And it's so interesting that this navel orange blossom flower is a reminder that it's really good to be alive, even if sometimes it feels really hard to be here. It's really good to be alive. It magnifies your sensuality, your playfulness, your appreciation, which gives you that gratitude for, oh, it's wonderful to be here in this human experience. Um, it's very inspiring. There's this warmth of the heart. You know, I feel like that kind of brings in that solar sort of energy here a bit. And this also, if you were to utilize this internally in a tincture or something along those lines, it's really good to help balance your reproductive system, which could also have a lead into the hormonal or endocrine system as well. So this feels, you know, with Scorpio, there is a connection with that sexual power and that energy of the reproductive system, and being able to balance your hormones really supports that too. So this feels very aligned with what you were saying, as well as the energy of Scorpio in general, and really giving everyone that has Scorpio in their chart in this way. You know, when you think about the ninth house, it expands your knowledge, it expands your wisdom, you're curious, and really taking this time to get curious about what's showing up for you and being able to learn from whatever experiences transpire. So,
yeah,
navel on.
and the Scorpio energy is the transformation from the material salvation to the ethereal salvation. It's the breakthrough. It's that from the dark to the light. And there you have that center flower, like they're having a breakthrough, spiritual breakthrough with Jupiter. That's what happens when Jupiter's in your ninth house. You have spiritual breakthrough. And for the Scorpio, they're gonna transform their struggles and their trauma into spiritual light.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Lovely.
Lovely Sagittarius, you're ruled by Jupiter. You're gonna have a good year when your ruling planet is out of combustion. I'm sorry for all your Sagittarius out there that might be really a little annoyed right now. Where did I put my Sagittarius card? Did I show this yet? No. Sagittarius. So you're ruled by Jupiter. Sagittarius, Pisces, Cancers are going to have the best year because they're ruling planet. Well, Jupiter, Pisces, ruling planet. Sorry, Sagittarius, Pisces, ruling planet is in exaltation in the sign of Cancer. So the Cancers benefit too. So anyway, so we've got this massive expansion happening this year for Sagittarius. Big new beginnings, level 10, level 11. Let's take 11.
Let's go for 11.
Let's go for 11. So your new moon, Cancer, in your eighth house, joint resources, perhaps a new beginning in joint resources where you're pulling your money together. We did have Jupiter in your seventh house, so there would possibly have been a relationship initiating while Jupiter was in your seventh house. Now it's in your eighth house, so you're joining your resources and you're pulling your resources together. You could be like I said, taking out a loan. I invested in property with Jupiter in my eighth house, and it worked out very, very well. You could start an investment, stabilizing your finances through investment researching other options, deep digging, learning about things. You could start a new occult practice. Occult is not evil. It just means the unseen. Occulto means hidden. It is studying the science behind reality. A new beginning, understanding, going deeper. You are Sagittarius, you're wisdom seekers, truth seekers. This new moon digs you down to a new truth. Also, you find the truth of your family, new stability, new foundations in your joint resources, in your finances. An opportunity comes in that brings you financial independence. If it does involve going into debt, do it. Take the risk. Jupiter's there. It may expand your debt, but I'm telling you, it will bring you good luck. I can verify that from experience. Risk-taking new moon for Sagittarius. Jump in, don't worry, do it. The square, by the way, where's Aries? Aries is in your fifth house. So restructuring your friendships, restructuring an entrepreneurial creative project might start. I think I had Saturn in my sixth house when I was doing a lot of creative writing projects and film and stuff like that, because the fifth house is kind of film. So there's some sort of new beginning in the fifth house, but again, blocked by the eighth house. So something has to be reestablished in your finances, stabilizing your financial situation before you start a new creative, entrepreneurial, or baby. Fifth house is something out of nothing. It's also the celebrity performing, writing. Sagittarius are often musicians, so there could be a new beginning where you get you could get a like subsidy or a government, what do you call it? I mean, a record label or management coming in, but there's a square there. You have to present your material first. You have to get your stuff in order before you can qualify. So you do this. New collaborative ventures. If you're a musician, collaborative, a new band initiates that makes you good money. You pull your resources together to afford a drum kit for the band.
That's very specific, Madelaine.
That was so funny. You know, I've been around musicians.
Yes.
I know how it works. So yeah, so it's kind of like, and your ruling planet is Jupiter, so is being blocked and combust. And you're probably frustrated because these new beginnings, you want to do it, but there's a big snag and a block. Just hang in there, keep the faith. You're just your horse is being held back from galloping too quickly and like going the wrong way or causing some sort of goof up.
Yeah.
And then Saturn's going to go retrograde to make sure we're not doing anything wrong in our foundations here. So blockages occurred but you're being guided new beginnings in a very auspicious new beginnings in your finance houses. So these new beginnings bring you abundance through collaborative efforts and friends and relationships.
So Barb was saying
That-
when talking about Libra because she is what was it, Sag Moon, I believe.
oh yeah.
Saying her maybe the Sagittarian energy will feel supportive, and then but then you kept talking, and I was like, oh gosh, maybe it isn't. But I do feel like it is. I feel like
It is.
it really is supportive. So here, I think this is also going to help. So look at this. We've got this purple mountain laurel flower. And I love this because it's that higher mind, that higher thinking, that divine energy that we're tapping into here. And this flower reminds us that it's okay to just relax and let it all hang out. Feeling a sense of comfort in where you are right now, knowing that everything is working out for you. It's also this reminder that you can play big. Have the confidence right now to play big. The mental freedom to not get caught up in like the perpetual loop of whatever those thoughts are that may be holding you back. Feeling comfortable within yourself and being able to then see the greatness that's around you in the world. So I really love this flower because it looks to me like it's just all these possibilities, all the potential, and it's got this flavor or texture of a divine connection, something that's
Mhm.
bigger than you, but also so important to bring into the world. So I love
Yeah.
this mountain laurel. for
It
Sag.
reminds me of a whole thing I haven't really mentioned about Jupiter and these new beginnings, and I feel like we need to go back and start over. I'm just kidding. Jupiter is our dharma. So these new beginnings are dharmic, and that's a very dharmic color, which is our path, our calling. I think I mentioned that.
You did at the very beginning, just
Right? Okay,
yeah,
good.
general. Yeah, like it's
Whatever.
we're being put onto our path of purpose.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Because I
you're
think
welcome.
the nodes are in on this, right? The nodes are squaring this whole ordeal. Did I even talk about that? What's the happening
You
with the
touched
nodes?
in on it
Uranus
at the
is
beginning.
squaring the nodes. Venus is squaring the nodes. So that's,
All righty. Well,
marriage, relationships, financial things, tilting our destiny. All
that's
right.
all. That's it.
Yeah, just that. Okay,
Nothing big.
Capricorn, Capricorn. Cardinals, Capricorn, Aries is in your fourth. Let's try to get my memory on this right. Is Aries in your fourth, Capricorn?
Well, this is the moon is in the seventh. The sun and the moon are in their seventh.
Okay, so Aries is your fourth. I did it right.
Good job.
Yeah. All right.
Bravo.
Bravo. All right, so Aries is in your fourth, so that means you are restructuring your living situation. Now you're cardinal, so everything's changing. So you're going to have Saturn there in your fourth house for about 2.5 years. So in the next 2.5 years, you're establishing a new family, new beginnings, new home. I had Saturn in my fourth house. I actually sold my home and I had to work on it and get it ready to be sold. And it was kind of a tough time, but that was different. That was when Pluto was in Capricorn. Things were sucky. So that was a different time. So that be a problem. But anyway, so you're at mother restructuring your relationship with clearing karma with your mother when you have Saturn in your fourth. Karmic issues can flare up, but they're to shift you out of it so that you cannot carry that frequency around with you.
Mm.
And it's squaring. This new moon is in your seventh house. Relationships, new relationship coming in, new family, the one, the true person. It's going to last a good 29 years. This is why you've suffered and struggled in singleness for all this time or struggled. This is it. This is something steps up. Recommit. If you're already in a relationship, it recommits, or you get pregnant, have a baby, or you start a new chapter. You start farming. You start a project with your divine partner that you start rebuilding your house. Saturn in the fourth could very well do that, and that includes like your divine, your partner, your person, because it's a new moon in your seventh. You start a new project with them around your home, but also their life. Something changes really radically, and a new beginning in their life. But there's a blockage there because don't forget its sun is combust and Saturn and Jupiter is squaring. So there's a block. Let's say I'm thinking of a Capricorn who maybe is met their person, but they don't live there. They don't live nearby. So they have to shift their situation so they can co-live, live closer together, or end another relationship. You meet your person, one relationship is ending because Saturn there is gonna redirect you to become relationship material, whether you're in one or not. You're going to be recalibrated to become a stable person for a relationship. So if you're that already, then the stable relationship comes in. If you're not, you're going to be stabilized for a relationship. So, and if you're in a relationship, you're restructuring how you operate in that relationship. But this new moon in Cancer is bringing a new beginning in your relationships. You could have a new client, if you're a lawyer, you could have a new law case there, but like family energy. But mostly I would see this as an entirely new living situation and a new relationship. And if you're married, your relationship escalates to a more co-collaborative venture together, and you move or redesign or restructure your living and your work, because these are cardinals, so it's going to change your work. You either relocate, live because of work, or you change your work as well, because these big changes are all over, all three-dimensional.
Yeah. Well, it's on the cardinal
Yep.
points, all
Yep.
four. Like you mentioned,
Like this.
everything is shifting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like that's the case with some Capricorns in my world. And
Yeah.
some of the changes are um,
Not
are
wanted.
known. Some of them are known and some of them are unknown. And there's a level of discomfort with that
Mhm.
in
And the
between.
and with Neptune here, which I keep forgetting to bring up, the changes that are happening, we don't understand them completely. We don't like you could be going through a separation and you think it's over, but really Neptune is there and it's not. We're just clearing out that kind of separate way of behaving. And it's just showing
Uh-huh.
up in this storm to be cleared so that we can have this clean slate. So these dysfunctional ways of operating in relationships and in our families, new moon Cancer is all about our families. Dysfunctional ways of operating in our families are going to show up as a storm so that we can clean the slate.
Cleaning the slate, even that feels like a good thing for
Yeah.
all of us to be doing right now. So interesting, we have the nasturtium. Doesn't this look quite a lot like
Mm,
the pomegranate flower? And guess what? The pomegranate flower was for Libra. Libra is
yeah.
seventh house. So there's a very much a connection here with these energies, highlighting the
Yeah.
importance of interpersonal relationships, intimate partnerships, and all partnerships that we might be in.
And
So
also, yeah, it really shows that cardinal fire influence of that Saturn Aries as being a big part of this. Sorry.
shift, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big time shift.
Yeah.
So now, this will make me maybe make this feel a little bit better. This is an energy of joy and contentment that comes through spontaneity and spicing things up a little bit. So this is a time to, let's just say you're in a partnership of some kind, let's say a marriage, and you're generally okay, but this might be a little bit of a nudge to come outside of your comfort zone a little bit and do something a little bit more playful and spontaneous. Maybe when your partner comes home, you have created a picnic outside in the backyard, and that's not something you normally would do. And it's just a really lovely evening. Um, and this also is an energy of being at the right place at the right time. So maybe you decide to take a spontaneous trip, and then on that trip, you meet somebody that's really instrumental in your lives. This also is an energy of refining how your way of being. So that could be, I think about this based on the astrology and the placement is how are you within the relationship and the partnership? How can you show up in a way that is supportive of the your partner but also supportive of yourself? It's like not forgetting about yourself in the equation, really finding that balance between your needs and their needs and refining that in a way that might be unique to the two of you. So the nasturtium feels like a really lovely energy for Capricorns to step into. I really want to highlight the playful part of it because Capricorns can be very serious, leaning into play a little bit more as we go into this, the summer solstice. It's, kind of that time where we think about
Yeah.
being outside and being playful and fun and frolicking in the meadow kind of energy.
Yeah, and you're going to be really impacted by the Saturn, your ruling planet, in the Aries energy. So you really are, I mean, everybody's, but okay, let's go to 12 new beginnings for Capricorn.
Just a little bit
Guys
more
have
for you.
Aries, you have your ruling planet in Aries. OMG. All right,
All right, Aquarius,
Aquarius,
boy, sixth
let's
house, my goodness.
sixth house, new beginnings, Aries in your third.
All
New
right, Barb, I
beginning-
don't know about this.
what?
I was like, all right, Barb, I don't know about
She's very,
this.
yeah, she's Aquarius rising, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so new beginnings in your health, obviously, and in your routine and in your day to day. You've got Pluto in your first house anyway, so you're having a big transformative time while Pluto's there, where you do really step into your sovereignty. And then I think Aquarians become the new age leaders coming in, by the end of that transit. And then, well, they already are, but more so. And then we get the um sixth house. So really honestly, that's like the biggest new beginning in healing. So let's say you're an Aquarius, and I happen to know Barb, so I don't mean to display her personal information, but I do know she is a very powerful healer. So I hope she doesn't mind me saying that. So these new beginnings is in a powerful new way of working that is in alignment with her healing practice and her healing gifts and her abilities. So it could be a new job where you step into and you become busy, and it shifts your life on a day-to-day where you step into a healing role. Your work becomes more of a healer. A new beginning, again, that changes the way you live on a day-to-day. These new moons, this is biggie. Remember, we gave it a big 10 now on this new moon. So it's like this is a big, powerful new beginning that changes your day-to-day in a big time. Your daily routine will be different. And then Jupiter is there. So you're going to, some health issues can definitely show up with Jupiter in the sixth, but it's just so that you go take care of it and change it. Because then when Jupiter gets into your seventh, to the top of your chart, you're really stepping more into the outside world, becoming a big force in the world. And Jupiter wants you a healthy person to get out in the world and fulfill your dharma. So you're being healed and fixed up. You've got Pluto in your first house, transforming you into your power, sovereign power. And you've got these Jupiter in your sixth house, getting you fixed up and put back to get their band-aids on and painted, repainted.
That's a cute visual.
Yeah. So you're being fixed, but these new beginnings now, again, it's in Cancer. So there is always potential for a new relationship, new family, connected to this. So other parts can be going on in your chart, like your Libra. Like Barb is Libra. So, we've got that potential there because of other things happening in the chart. So I think I don't want to leave anything out. We got Aries. Oh, I'm leaving something out. You've got Saturn. So there's a block to these new beginnings, as it were, while Saturn is in your third, while you either change the way you're thinking about yourself and the way you think about your work. And by the way, this is a new opportunity. This is a door opening in. So there's something that has to change about your routine, your people that are around you. You may have to move because of it. You may have to change something. You have to get online or start a media website or start something. It has to be adjusted and adapted before this is going to really work. Some kind of new beginning there. And it can often involve the thinking and your internal dialogue and not believing in yourself, or not believing this form of work can do something. It can. If it shows up right now with Jupiter there in combustion, don't worry. It can work. It's going to work. So Saturn is going through your third house. I remember I had Saturn in my third house. I started a website. Media platforms have to get started maybe for this new healing practice. You have to get out there. You have to sell something. There's an adjustment and an adaptation. And then don't worry, mid-July, there's a flow. It's happening. You're like, whoa, this is working out.
So that's not far off. I mean,
Oh.
Yeah, that's not too bad
But,
to,
new beginnings, people are antsy.
yes. Yeah, I feel that. I think we're all feeling that. Okay, so here we go again with those similar colors. We have the white water lily here, and I just looks so happy and bright and hopeful.
Yeah.
Um,
No dark
this
cards today. I like it.
no. So we have this with the white water lily, this keen sense of awareness. And it also is activating, sharpening your senses, like really tapping into all of your touch, taste, smell, sight, like hearing, all of those, like really activating them in order to see the magic in the world, in order to see what magic is all around you. So this gives you a way to actually see things. I'm going to say, see life, see your path more clearly. Maybe it's been a little bit foggy. We have that Neptunian energy, so that is definitely part of the story. But this is a time where it's like, okay, I'm like really paying attention. Like I'm really present with the sensorial experience of where I am and where I'm being guided and what my mission is and what my purpose is. And the white water lily is that flower that's going to kind of guide and lead the way. I'm going to mention this again. I normally say this at the top of the show, but I forgot, is remember with these flowers is that, yes, there are elixirs and mists and serums and other things that you can purchase and you can use, and they can be part of your process. You don't need them. You can just take a screenshot of this. You can just imagine this flower in your mind and play with it. Like, I could see this as like, okay, you wear it as like this beautiful flower on your head, or you put it as like a necklace, or you imagine maybe a lei of them around your, or over your neck and around your shoulders, or maybe you imagine them all knit together or strung together and it's a blanket or a cape that you wear. Whatever you want to do to play with this energy, for all of the signs of the flowers, it'd be really supportive right now. And I think we're all being encouraged to be a little less serious and a little more playful, because the more we have that vibe that we're exuding and we're sharing, that helps everyone. Whether
Very
you're,
hard to do that with a Saturn square.
yes, yeah,
But
that may
you're right.
be,
That
that
you're
may
right.
be, but I think it's just something to kind of keep in the back of our
I
mind.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what I want to say is that what you said just now about it, it really does remind me to say that for Aquarius, these new beginnings in your sixth house are your Dharma because Jupiter's there. So this is very in alignment, some sort of new work that is your Dharma.
Mm,
Just had to
okay.
happen.
All right. So hopefully you're feeling all right, Barb.
Thanks for signing up, or not signing up, but
For
checking,
commenting. Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
in live with us.
Exactly.
Nice
And
to
anyone
have
else who
you
would
here.
like to, we're here for you.
Thanks for
Although we're
joining the spiritual party.
we're having a good time here. Talking about all the changes.
You guys are the party people.
That's
All
true.
right. They're
Aquarian,
the party people. Yeah, Aquarius are the party people. And then Libra, Aquarius, they're very people. Libra's is a very people person. Barb, she's a people person.
people
All right.
person. All right, here we go.
As
Pisces,
opposed to Pisces, tend to be more in the uh alone,
a
connected,
loner. Yeah.
yeah, and daydreaming and aloof. All right. I'm Pisces moon, so I can talk that way about Pisces. All right. So Pisces, you guys have Cancer in your fifth house. I'm so happy. This is so great. Oh my God. Fantastic. Now Pisces are going to have a good time. Pisces are going to have fun. This is a new moon and Jupiter is going to be in your fifth house. First of all, if you are in the age of having babies, you could get pregnant and have a baby. So anybody Pisces out there or Jupiter ruled, watch out. Also, the fifth house new moon there, you meet your true person, you start a family, you start a new family with somebody, a friend that's a friend becomes a relationship that you initiate a new family with. A new moon is in the fifth is something out of nothing with Jupiter there. It's going to make it super duper expansive. Most Pisces are musicians. My son is Pisces, Sagittarius musician. He's going to have this new moon in his fifth house. He could start a new band with collaborative musicians that are family. And Jupiter there is blessing this. You make a lot of people. You meet a lot of people all of a sudden with Jupiter there. Remember, Jupiter in Cancer is baby crabs, tons of little crabs being born, like a million little crabs. So you could have a lot of new friends. A new entrepreneurial project can be initiated that brings you a lot of money. You could something else going on in your chart. You're collaborating. Didn't we say you've a lot of Sagittarians and Pisces? I'm Sagittarius, Pisces. So we've got that. Jupiter has been in your seventh. Your Dharma lights up like a freaking beam of light because you're Pisces. So your Dharma is like this big torch lights up saying that way. Now with Saturn squaring everything in your second house, you've just had Saturn in your first house. You've become more mature, more taking on more responsibilities, more somebody who can collaborate. And so now with Saturn entering in your second house, squaring this, something has to happen. You have to make sure your finances are in order. If it's, let's say it's a band, you guys got to all do a contract and make sure everybody's paid the right amount. Some kind of, but there is a new income coming in with Saturn in your second. You have a new financial start in structuring your finances in a way that sustains you for 29 years. So some sort of new way of earning money with this new moon involving collaboratives, friends, media, the stage, performing, storytelling, children, entrepreneurial ventures, creative out of the box ventures that then have either you have to get financial assistance for it because you're going to have it's opposing your eighth house, so maybe you get a loan, or you have to, let's have a think with that square to you have to reestablish a financial, you have to lock in a financial income through this creative project. So you've got to kind of set that up basically and adapt your finances around these new beginnings somehow. But you're restructuring your finances, your income, how you make your money in the next 2.5 and 3 years. And you're doing it with leader, bold, excitement, inspired new beginnings.
Well, I feel like this flower is giving another clue on how to do that.
Oh,
And
good.
that is the chocolate daisy. We got another yellow. And this is through simplicity.
Mm.
So really when you're creating whatever that structure is for your creative projects, for your bringing that wealth and abundance towards you, it is going to be, I think, likely helpful to not overcomplicate things. Just try to keep it as simple as you can. You'll likely feel an ease in doing whatever tasks that you need to do. And this is going to bring in something you might not be super familiar with, and that is that sense of like really feeling that cheerfulness, because Pisces tend to be a little more like,
They're going to be bubbly and happy with Jupiter in their fifth house for the year.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's going to be
So
good.
cheerfulness and fun and laughter. And so really just keeping things simple so that you don't get too caught up in the mental loops. And that spaciousness in your mind is going to lead to places of joy and contentment and spontaneity in your life. So I really love the chocolate daisy as a support for Pisces and that reminder of simplicity and and having fun, really just finding the joy and the simplicity of doing.
It sort of looks like getting out of the funk.
Yeah, a little bit. Like the funk in the middle and it's like spreading out. Yeah.
Great, because they've had Saturn in the first house. It is depressing to have Saturn in the first house. You go through kind of a depressing, heavy funk energy when it's on your
Mm,
ascendant. So now it's out of that, busting out of that, and now you become stable financially, basically.
yeah. That's fantastic.
Great. I would love that for my son.
Yes, that would be, I'd love that for him too.
Maybe emotionally stable. More.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's basically it, everybody. I think we're gonna survive these crazy times.
We definitely are. It's just do the things that you can to bring yourself that sense of comfort and nurturing. Give yourself that a little extra time to connect in nature. I know I've been feeling for myself, sometimes I need to just go outside
Yep.
or take a quick swim and then come back and, can be able to refocus. So really pay attention to the cues that your body gives you and take action when you're able and create some space within your day to take care of yourself and
Yes.
rest.
Self-nurture, very Cancer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Healing. These new
Yeah.
beginnings are going to be beautiful, really. Honestly, they're very beautiful. Family, new families, cozy
So,
homes,
yeah. So watch this again if you need some refresher on things. It's going to be posted on my page and Madelaine's page. And keep an eye out too. I'm going to post, as I do for almost every moon, I post the flowers for all of the signs. It might be kind of fun to see all of them together and see which energies really jump out at you and play with that a little bit.
I also like when you do that because the flowers that show up each time we do one of these readings are completely different. So when you put them all together, it shows the sort of collective energy.
Yes.
These ones are going to show up light and white and, you know, all like
Yeah,
that.
there was
Scorpio ones were black, yeah, So it's
there's
like,
literally there's nothing here. They're all red. I'm sorry, there are no red. It's all orange, yellow. I mean, the darkest color we have
Yeah.
is purple. And
Wow.
purple to me is a really divine,
Yeah.
you
Jupiter
know,
energy.
yeah.
So that's
So
nice, isn't it? That's
it'll be
nice.
fun. It'll be fun to see.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's interested, keep an eye out on all platforms. I even post it here on YouTube, if you want to check that out and see. And we will see you again in a couple weeks talking
Yep.
about the
Look
Capricorn
right
full
here.
moon.
Capricorn full moon at 18 degrees opposite my on my Mercury, exact on my Mercury, but I
All
don't know.
right. Well, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. And just so everybody knows, I have my TikTok channel is just it's way going great. I recommend TikTok, by the way. My Instagram feed is like very seldom I get like, it's like really like not that doesn't seem very active. Let's put it that way. But on TikTok, it's like, wow. So I'm just, if anybody wants to see my TikTok channel, Soul Growth Astrology, Madeleine Parker.
All right. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for the heads up on that, Madelaine.
Yep.
All right.
All
We will,
right. Well, everyone have a great day.
yes, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye for now.
Namaste.